We've been told for decades that the difference between America and China is simple. They censor, we don't. They build firewalls, we encourage open discourse. They lock information, we're free. That's what we've been told. But there's this new TikTok deal, and it changes everything. Here's how it's going to work. TikTok USA will now be 80% American-owned. Oracle, Larry Ellison, the mega billionaire that donates millions to the IDF, and from Project Stargate, the AI-driven mRNA project. Server like Andreessen Horowitz and some legacy investors like Susquehanna, who's Trump's mega donor, they're taking a major chunk. ByteDance, TikTok's Chinese parent company, they'll keep 20% minority stake. And a new American board will oversee the operation, and the U.S. government will provide oversight. The U.S. government will provide oversight. Most importantly, U.S. users will download a brand new app. It'll look identical to the TikTok that you use today, but behind the scenes, it'll be a completely different, separate product. It's going to have separate servers, separate data, separate algorithm. TikTok USA and TikTok Global will now run on different algorithms. Now just pause for a second. Doesn't that sound eerily familiar? Because that's exactly how the Chinese Great Firewall works. China blocks access to global platforms like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and instead they give their people local versions. WeChat, Weibo, Douyin, the Chinese TikTok. It's the same concept, just a different ecosystem. The algorithms are trained only on Chinese data designed to serve Chinese goals. And now, America is doing the same exact thing. Here's how it's going to work. ByteDance will license its core technology, meaning US gets access to the code base, but operational control, the servers, the data, the user data, the decision making, all that shifts to the American hands. Oracle's in charge of storing US data, Silver Lake A16, they're going to put up some capital. And Washington, it gets what it always wanted. Direct oversight of the app that dominates America's youth. On the surface, it may sound for some people like a win. America first. TikTok survives. Creators get to keep their audience, although not their whole audience, because you're going to lose a little bit because you lose the globe and the world. America gets control over US data, and China, they get to make a little bit of money. It seems really easy, doesn't it? Problem solved. It's not that simple. Just take a step back. Take a step back. This isn't just about ownership. It's about information flow. When US TikTok runs on a separate algorithm trained on only American data, it becomes what you call a walled garden. What trends in the US may never trend globally, and what goes viral overseas may never hit US feeds. Creators will lose their cross-border reach, and the users, you're going to lose exposure to ideas, voices, and content from around the world. This isn't just a corporate restructuring. It's a structural separation of culture and information. And consider the precedent that this sets. If the government can wall off TikTok, what stops them from doing the same to other platforms? What if they demand US-only versions of X or YouTube or Instagram? Each time the justification will sound the same. National security for your safety. But slowly, we'd be building our own great firewall. You see the irony? For years, Washington criticized Beijing for walling off its people from the global internet. We called it authoritarian. We said it was a proof of China's insecurity. They're preventing the population from knowing the truth. That's what we said. That's what we all said about China. And yet here we are, doing the same exact thing. To protect freedom, the internet was once seen as universal. Infinite, borderless world of ideas. But slowly, nations are carving it up into centralized zones of control. Russia has its own walled platforms. China has its own ecosystem. Europe is pushing hard on digital sovereignty with laws like the Digital Services Act. And now the US has decided to join that list, forcing foreign apps to divest into domestic clones. One internet becomes many, each ruled by governments, each molded by its own politics. If America forces TikTok into a walled off clone, if US users can only see what an American algorithm decides, if Washington gains power to oversee what trends, what gets amplified, and what gets buried, at what point are we any different from the system we spent decades criticizing? The TikTok deal isn't just about TikTok. It's about the future of the internet and whether America has its own great firewall.